Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to attend SCIO's press conference. The third China-CEEC Expo and International Consumer Goods Fair is about to kick off in the city of Ningbo in the Zhejiang Province. Today we are really honored to invite Mr. Li Fei, the Vice Minister of Commerce, Mr. Lu Shan, Vice Governor of Zhejiang Province, Mr. Tang Feifan, Mayor of the Ningbo City, Zhejiang Province, Vice President of ICC China, Mr. Yu Yuantang, to introduce us the relative information about this expo and answer the questions. Now we are going to give the floor to Mr. Li Fei. Thank you so much for your question. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends from the media, good morning. I'm really honored to be here with my colleagues to participate in the SCIO's press conference to introduce you the third China-CEEC Expo International Consumer Goods Fair, and also the preparation work that we have done, as well as the economic and trade cooperations between China and CEEC countries. The third China-CEEC Expo and International Consumer Goods Fair is about to start in the city of Ningbo of Zhejiang Province in a short while, and it is also themed at joining hands to create a bright future. It is a joint event between Moscow and Zhejiang Province. The State Council, as well as the CPC Central Committee, attaches great importance to the China-CEEC Expo and International Consumer Goods Fair. In 2019, when the second affair was about to start, President Xi Jinping sent congratulatory letters. The third China-CEEC Expo and International Consumer Goods is the first event China has upheld toward the CEEC countries. A good preparations of this affair and expo means a lot to both China and the CEEC countries. China's collaboration with CEEC countries is a part of China's major trade and economic cooperations across the world. Starting from the year 2021, the economic and trade cooperation has progressed quite rapidly. First, the bilateral trade grows quite rapidly. Starting from the year 2021, the trade between China and CEEC countries has grown at 8.1%. The exports has also been grown at 9.2%. At the first quarter of the year 2023, the bilateral trade has been growing at 22.3 trillion RMB. That is indicating a very bright future for the two sides. Second, starting from the year 2019, the mutual investment between China and CEE countries is reaching 209.1 trillion RMB. Increasing by 148%. China's enterprises has a great impetus to invest in CEEC countries, including the household manufacturing, the mining sectors, as well as the natural resources sectors. China has undertaken the contracts from the CEEC countries worth $8.9 trillion. In 2018, the Mount August Railway started, and we have also promoted a series of the infrastructure construction areas. It becomes the highlights between the China and CEEC countries. Fourthly, the cooperations and also connectivities between China and CEEC countries has grown also quite rapidly. Starting from the year 2022, the railway between China and CEEC countries has expanded by 9%. Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia becomes the major destinations for China's tourism. The Great Ports is becoming one of the major destinations in China. The cooperations in the logistic and ports and also shipping industry becomes one of the major highlights between the cooperations of the China and CEEC countries. We are going to deeply uphold the decisions made by the China and CEEC countries, enhancing the collaborations and communications with the Ningbo City of Zhejiang Province, optimizing our plans for these events, trying to make sure that this third China-CEEC Expo is going to be an expo with high quality, good demonstrations of the product, as well as the major platform demonstrating the goods and services from the CEEC countries. On behalf of MOFCOM, I kindly welcome all the friends to participate in the third China-CEEC Expo and International Consumer Goods Fair. I also kindly invite the support and concerns from the friends from the media and also friends from all the countries. Now we are going to give the floor to Mr. Shan, Vice Governor of Zhejiang Province. Dear moderator, dear friends from the media, distinguished guests, thank you very much for your long-term support for the economic and trade development of the Zhejiang Province. I'd like to supplement some of the information about the third China-CEEC Expo and the International Consumer Goods Fair. The China-CEEC Expo and the International Consumer Goods Fair is the only national level expos on the international consumer goods affairs. During the second China-CEEC Expo and the International Consumer Goods Fair, President Xi Jinping has sent a congratulatory letter where it noted that it is going to facilitate the understandings of the Chinese consumers to the CEEC markets, and it's also going to permit the CEEC countries' goods to be sold in the Chinese market. It's also going to help us to get out of the COVID-19 pandemic. These three benefits provides the basic blueprint for us to uphold the China-CEEC exports. We are going to fully implement President Xi Jinping's congratulatory letters on its spirit. In the year 2022, the Zhejiang's imports of the goods from the CEEC countries has registered at a 21% growth. In the first quarter of the year 2023, the rapid import has kept a speed of 8.7%. Across the provinces, we are also promoting the collaborations with CEEC countries in the areas of the auto manufacturing, biomedicines, as well as the PV power generation plants. With a deepening of the China and CEEC countries, we are welcoming the third China-CEEC Expo and the International Consumer Goods Fair. The third affair, just as Vice Minister has introduced you, is about to open its door in May the 16th to the 20th. This expo features deepening cooperation, joining hands facing the future. At the same time, we are going to uphold the 24th China-Zhejiang Investment and Trade Affairs. This expo is going to be hosted by Hungarian, and the major province participated is going to be the Jiangsu province. So far, there are 7 leaders from CEEC countries and 13 representatives from the embassy has confirmed that they are going to participate in the third China-CEEC Expo International Consumers Affairs, and there are over 20 Chinese provinces is going to send their delegations to participate in this time's expo. We believe that this time's expo is going to be a demonstration for us to inject the new dynamisms for our country's economy, and we are going to create the highlights as well as the real benefits. In terms of these times events, it is going to be featured in trade and economic activities. At the same time, there is going to be 27 major events, and on these 27 major events, there are some of the sub-forum organized by MOFCOM as well as ICCs, among other different ministry-level events. And here on these times of the expo, we are also going to release a lot of cooperation fruits. We started the CEEC Expos as well as the International Consumer Goods Affairs. The exhibition area is going to be reaching 220,000 square meters. So to sum it up, there are three firsts about this time's expos. First, we have used a new venues. We are also the first to explore the professional trade and international affairs, and we have also firstly built these events as the name card of our province. Borrowing this opportunity, I'd like to invite all of you to come to the province of Zhejiang and also the city of Ningbo to participate in all-rounded cooperations in the trade and investment. Now we are going to give the floor to Mr. Tang Feifan, Mayor of the Ningbo City. Thank you so much for your support of the rapid economic development in the city of Ningbo. Building a demonstration areas for the China-CEEC countries is going to be the major missions entrusted by the State Council, and it's also going to be the cooperations deepened by the Ningbo City. Now I'm going to give you a demonstrations about the cooperations in the Ningbo City as well as the demonstrations areas. First, in the recent few years, we have overcome the difficulties brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. There are 4 breakthroughs that we made in the constructions of the demonstration areas. We made the breakthroughs in the imports of the goods. In 2022, Ningbo has imported 12.2 billion RMB's goods from CEEC countries. In the first quarter of the year 2023, the total imports from the CEEC countries from Ningbo has also been accounted for 140 billion RMB, and Ningbo becomes the major destinations for the CEE countries to sell their goods. Second, we have also promoted a platform where the NEV's industry has been embedded with the industrial chains with the CEEC countries. In 2022, the city of Ningbo has invested in 640 million RMB into the CEEC countries. Thirdly, we have also launched a platform where we invested in the customer clearance from the CEEC countries. For the long-term monitoring, we have also built the Ningbo Shan port as well as the shipping lines. It has been expanded to 14 shipping lines, making the new breakthroughs in the people-to-people exchanges. We have also signed up the cooperations with 19 different colleges and universities from CEEC countries. And in 9 different CEEC countries, we have set up the Vision Office, as well as launching a series of the events for the Chinese cuisines. The second part of my introduction is about the protection measures and risk-proof measures that we have done about these expos. We are trying our best to make sure that this expo is going to be hospitable. We selected 33 different hospitals and we have recruited 700 million volunteers, providing the tailor-made services for all the participants from the CEEC countries. Second, we have also enhanced the comprehensive agreement. As mentioned by the Vice Governor Luo Shan, this is the first time that we have adopted 1 meeting venues and 2 exhibition halls. We have decorated these exhibition halls and we have also clarified the major guaranteeing areas for the safety protections, for the COVID-19 protections, as well as the infrastructures of the hotels. Thirdly, we have also blended the organizing of this CEEC Expo with the Hangzhou Asia Sports events. We believe that this is going to be a demonstration of the CEEC elements. And across the city of Ningbo, we are creating an atmosphere for these events. There is 11 days to go for the China-CEEC Expos. We invite friends from all walks of life to participate in these events. We are also welcoming the friends from the media to care about the city of Ningbo, and we are here waiting for all of you in the beautiful city of Ningbo. Thank you so much, Mayor Tang, for your kind introduction. Now the floor is going to open up for questions. Please identify your affiliated institution before the questions. Thank you so much with China News Agency. The second China-CEEC Expo and International Consumer Goods Affair has played a very important role in promoting the trade and collaborations between China and CEEC countries. What is the highlights about the third China-CEEC Expos? Let me answer your questions. First, you have mentioned that this is the third China-CEEC Expo. Compared with the second affair, there are three firsts I mentioned before. These three firsts is about the expos. We have launched to use the new venues, and we are also we are using and collaborating with the professional event designing process. I also like to supplement some of the information about the third expo. The first information is that we are having a deepening cooperation. The first one is that between the official institutions and International Chamber of Commerce, we have built a regular mechanisms for mutual visit. During the second affair, there were 14 MOUs, but for this time, we have increased it to 29. So from the number, we could see that the cooperation has been deepened and widened, including the Slovenia, Poland, Hungary, and Serbia. They are also going to uphold some of the trade and economic promoting events. Second, apart from the promotions in trade and economic areas, at the same time, we are going to uphold the ceiling games between the China-CEEC countries. Forums for the female scientists at the China-CEEC events, as well as the investor days to the CEEC countries. We are also going to promote the cooperations between the sister cities in China and CEEC countries. There are going to be the cuisines festivals. I believe that this is the second part that we are going to witness a deepening cooperations. Thirdly, apart from the CEEC countries, other countries including Germany, Italy, and France has also demonstrated their goods on this time's expo. Second, we are scaling up the events. There are 3,000 participants in the third expos, 20% increase from the last session. Currently, we are witnessing 2,300 participants. We believe the total participants of this event is going to make a breakthrough for 100,000 events. During these events, we are going to organize opening ceremonies for the permanent meeting venues for the China and CEEC Expos. During these times, we are also going to organize some of the e-commerce platforms festivals promoting the goods to be sold on the e-commerce platforms, unleashing the consumption powers. Thirdly, in terms of the goods and products, there's going to be more highlights. For these times of expos, we have demonstrated multiple ways of goods and services. We are seeing that there are 14 different European geographical foods and the products that has been demonstrated, for example, for the first time. For example, the skating equipment from Slovenia has been participated in and demonstrated in these events. For the first time, we are working together with the consumers' office and came up with a tailor-made plan supporting a product with a certain quantities could be tax-free. We are also promoting this product from the CEECs can enjoy the cross-border e-commerce platform service during the expos. At the same time, we are also going to sign up a series of the threshold agreement with the GACC and also expand the exports and imports from the CEEC countries. So these are some of the supplement information about the third expo. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for CMG. The Chinese leaders has came up with the idea that in the coming 5 years, China is going to import for around $117 billion goods from the CEEC countries. What kind of area will the Chinese authorities expand their exports? Thank you so much for your questions. In the year 2021, President Xi Jinping has came up with the idea that in the coming 5 years, China is going to have a total import of the goods and services from the CEEC countries amounting for $177 billion. This has demonstrated the Chinese goodwill to be working together with the CEEC countries. We all know the global economy is slowing down, but against this trend, China's determination to work with the CEEC countries has never changed. For this matter, we are going to adopt multiple measures and multiple undertakings to promote the imports from the CEEC countries. The major measures includes 4 different aspects. First, we are going to let the exports play its rules. In these times of exports, we have attracted 380 companies participated in these events. These companies is working from the smart housing, appliance, logistics, as well as the manufacturing industries. As Vice Minister has introduced us, this is actually a demonstration platform from the CEEC countries, providing a more direct understanding for the China and CEEC countries. At the same time, we are also going to encourage and support the companies to be from the CEEC countries to participate to CIIEs, among also the consumer exports, to help their goods expand their reputations in the Chinese market. Second, we are also going to use these collaboration mechanisms, accelerating the trade and services between the two governments. We are also going to work on the e-commerce platforms, enhancing the trade collaborations between the two parties, promoting the communications between the two sides, as well as our understandings toward the CEEC countries and the agro product. Thirdly, we are going to let the cross-border e-commerce platform play their rules. We have successfully promoted the CEEC countries' product to be launched in multiple Chinese platforms. A lot of CEEC countries dispatch their representatives and also opened live streamings from the Chinese e-commerce platforms. And as we are moving into the future, we are going to enhance the collaborations between China and CEEC countries for a better, higher quality, and more convenient collaboration. Fourthly, we believe the local governments is going to be leaders in the collaborations between the China and CEEC countries. MOFCOM is going to support the Ningbo City and its likes to build the demonstration areas between China and CEEC countries. We are also going to give a lot of support from the free trade and economic support as well as the customer clearance. We hope to attract more CEEC customers to come to China and promote the collaborations in the automobile manufacturing, green and biomedicine sectors. Thank you very much with Phoenix TV. We understand that during the third China-CEEC Expo, there's going to be the 7th meetings between China and the CEEC countries. Can you give us some of the briefings about the highlights, background information of these events? Let me take this question. Thank you so much for your support in the events from the ICCs. I believe the ministers and the governors has answered the questions from the ministries and also the Zhejiang Province from these times events that during these expos, ICC is going to work together with the local governments to uphold the 7th China-CEEC country Joint Chamber of Commerce meetings. We all know that starting from the year 2014, according to the MOUs reached between China and CEEC countries, the first China-CEEC Joint Chamber of Commerce has officially been launched. And currently, the collaborations in the Chamber of Commerce is becoming one of the major platforms where we could promote the collaborations between China and CEEC countries in the recent few years affected by COVID-19. China's mutual trade between CEEC countries has not diminished. At the end of last year, I was actually leading a delegation to participate to go to Czechoslovakia, as well as Croatia. During that trip, I felt that the trade and economic communities has a real interest in deepening the cooperations, especially in the infrastructure constructions, agri-product, digital economies, as well as other sectors. Against this background, these events from the Joint Chamber of Commerce is going to be themed at jointly plotting the development for the futures. So there is going to be the opening ceremonies, as well as the meetings from the Chinese parties. This is also going to promote the collaborations between China and CEEC countries. For this time's events, there are several major features. First, it is going to be the collaborations between China and CEEC countries, as we are sitting on a new chapter for our collaborations, and we are going to depicting the bright future as we are entered into the next chapter. This year marks the first 10 years anniversary for the collaboration mechanisms between China and CEEC countries. We are going to plot the joint collaborations between the two sides. And for this purpose, we upheld the 7th China and CEEC Expos. There is going over 200 representatives from the Chamber of Commerce from both sides to participate in these events, demonstrating the companies' eager participation to the economic and trade between the two sides. Second, in the post-pandemic eras, this is a joint meeting between China and CEEC countries. We are going to consolidate the cross-regional cooperations. This is the first time that we have widely invited representatives from the CEEC countries to join us offline, face-to-face. After the pandemic, currently there is 150 enterprises registered for these events. Through the face-to-face communications, we could continue our friendship, depicting the in-depth collaborations between the two sides. Thirdly, this is going to be an event that we are going to stick to the practice-oriented and result-oriented. We are going to facilitate the collaborations between China and CEEC countries with the real results. After a better understanding between the collaborations of the China and CEEC countries, the Joint Chamber of Commerce mechanisms is going to organize the one-to-one business communications for the companies. And we are also going to arrange 365 events offline as well as online. We hope that this one-to-one business talk could facilitate a series of the collaboration projects. Moving ahead, we are going to work together for the preparation works of the meeting and promote the collaborations between China and CEEC countries registered more fruits. We also welcome dear journalists to support our events and cover our events. Thank you so much. Thank you so much with China Media Group. We all know that the high-quality goods from the CEEC countries has been very welcomed by the Chinese consumers. So my question is that how will the city of Ningbo better explore the opportunities from this expo and expand new imports? I'm going to take the question. Thank you so much for the questions. In the recent few years, we have also used these China-CEEC Expo events as one of the supporting pillars. I was introducing you the supporting and incentive policies from the last years to this year. You have noted very well that there is too much room for the CEEC's high-quality goods to be extended in the Chinese market, and we are going to adopt the following measures. First, we are going to make the expo a regular event. Events never veil its curtains. I noted that this year we are going to open up the expo for 16,000 square meters, and in the second phase, the total scale is going to reach 32,000 square meters. The demonstrations of the product and goods is going to reach 4,000 different categories. We are going to make these events the most welcomed events in China. And during this time's expo, we are also going to uphold the second phase for the regular venues. We are also going to ask the leaders and delegations from these CEEC countries to participate in these events, and there is also going to be a dining event between China and CEEC countries. That is how we are going to expand the skills between China and CEEC countries. This is the first measures that we are going to undertake. Second, we are going to build a cloud platform by a series of the events. We are going to break the barriers between the time and the scope and matching the two parties properly. Although the platform has been constructed for a short period of time, the consumers has only been participated for, the event has been designed for over 100 times. We have the confidence that we are going to do a good job in the cross-border e-commerce. Ningbo is the #1 city in the cross-border e-commerce platforms. We are going to better use these stations. We call our e-commerce platform as the maritime consumer fairs. And we are also going to work on the supplying policies, including the consumption, the sales. And the third things that we are going to do is that we are going to adopt a simple, quick process By building the cooperation collaborations in the Ningbo areas, we are going to unleash the potentials. And also, we are going to undertake the country's categories, promoting the upgrading of the local economies, promoting the skilled Ningbo's private company to go to the global stage, better facilitate the imports and exports of the CEEC goods. Finally, we are going to grab the opportunities generated from the consumers, inject new dynamisms from the consumers. We are also going to enhance the collaborations with other cities from the Yangtze River deltas, expand the friend circles from the China and CEEC countries. We are also going to dispatch a lot of consumer coupons for the CEEC goods, promoting the goods from the CEEC goods to the supermarkets in the communities and also the e-commerce platforms across the country. Thank you so much. CEEC countries is a major trading partner with China. So how could we promote the trade and economic policy exchanges between China and CEEC countries and the next steps? Thank you so much for your question. The economic and trade platform collaborations between China and CEEC countries is the backbone for the two sides. The two sides' economy is highly complementary to each other. That's the reason why I believe that we should build a collaboration mechanisms. This is how we are going to inject new dynamisms between the two sides. As we are moving into the future, MOFCOM is going to implement the joint consensus between the two sides' leaders. And we are going to focus on the works on the three fronts. First, we are going to make a better promotions of the China and CEEC countries minister-level meetings, which has been upheld for 3 times. And this minister-level meeting has been facilitated the mutual collaborations and communications between the two sides. We are also going to prepare for the next time's China-CEEC ministry-level collaborations. And we are also going to actively promote the green investment between the two sides. Second, we are also going to actively promote the joint collaboration mechanisms between China and CEEC countries. Between the different ministries and the two sides, we have built joint mechanisms. For these times, we are also trying to promote the development in the two sides. Currently, many CEEC countries has noted their willingness to uphold another events. And with the joint efforts from the two sides, we are going to build a new mechanisms for the economic collaborations between China and CEEC countries. Thirdly, we are going to reinitiate the collaboration mechanisms between China and CEEC countries. We are going to build a healthcare alliance between China and CEEC countries, the e-commerce platforms between China and CEEC countries, where the online platform is going to be organized and promoted. We are also going to uphold a series of major events for the economic and trade business, expand the economic and trade ties between China and CEEC countries. Thank you. Thank you very much. With Yangtze River Daily. In March this year, Zhejiang Province has chartered a plane to go to the European countries to get the orders. In this new era, as we are opening from the COVID-19 pandemic, how could we grab more economic and trade opportunities? Thank you so much for your question. Thank you so much for your notice of our events where we send thousands of delegations to countries across the world in order to promote the economic and trade ties between China and other countries. Zhejiang is one of the major giant provinces in the foreign trade. We are confident that under the leadership of the CPC Central Committee, the State Council, we are going to deepen the collaborations in trade and economics. We are going to be the pioneers in the two fronts and blending the China-CEEC Expo as a part of the Zhejiang's local economy. I think I am going to elaborate from the three following fronts about the collaborations between China and CEEC countries. First, we are going to demonstrate the rules of these expos. The city of Ningbo is the centers for the China-CEEC expos and economic and trade collaborations. We are going to work on the regular venues between the China and CEEC countries, the industrial parks between China and CEEC countries, and also the major consumer streets from the CEEC countries, where these events can demonstrate their rules. Second, across the province, and while Ningbo is going to take the roles of the leaders, other provinces and cities could play their roles in the process. The Binjiang district of the Hangzhou city, the city of Yiwu, the county of Pujiang, the county of Qingtian, among other 6 counties and cities, is going to focus themselves on the joint mechanisms in the China-CEEC collaboration mechanisms. We are going to create a joint mechanisms across the province. Second, by expanding this friend circle, we are also going to work on the imports and exports of the goods. As we are talking, we have mentioned that we are going to work on the high quality and specialties. There is going to be 14 European landmarks products, which is going to be unveiled in the Times Expos. Some of them is very renowned in the European markets. For example, the Bampo beer from the Poland and the Dr. Milk from Selvius. And these are the national brands from their own countries. For example, in Greece, the alcohols from the Uzo province, and from Romania, the grape wines from the Romania. It is enjoying a very good reputation as par with the grape wines from France in the European markets. Just as the Mayor Feifan has introduced us, we are going to introduce the goods with the high qualities to insert into the supermarkets, into the e-commerce platforms, and even in the service areas of the high speedways, attracting high volumes of consumptions. So the company is going to play a role as the platforms to facilitate the development. So I think this is going to be the major effort we are going to promote it in the consumer's goods. While we are promoting the consumer's goods to enter into the Chinese market, we are also going to expand the collaborations in the industrial goods. No matter for the industrial goods, we are going to make sure the digitalization of the Zhejiang Province is going to be the major theme across the service, across the logistics, and across the deliveries. We are also going to make these goods and services available to the consumers Thirdly, we are going to expand the investments. There are two major trends. The first one is going global. So taking on the major notes of the CEEC countries, we are also going to encourage the domestic companies to come to the CEEC countries. For example, we are going to make sure that the industrial and trade parks in Serbia is going to be the demonstration areas. At the same time, we are also going to encourage more Zhejiang companies to come to the CEEC countries to set up their own subsidiaries in the CEEC countries. At the same time, we are going to adopt multiple measures to attract the CEEC countries to come to China. We invite them to come to the province of Zhejiang and to come to China for further investment. For example, in the city of Ningbo, it features the China-CEEC industrial parks, where the collaborations between the batteries, between the NEVs, between the biomedicines has been localized, and we are also going to promote the collaborations between the productions and sales. So these are the three measures that we are going to undertake in order to expand the economic and trade cooperations between the CEEC countries. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have noticed there is a rapid growth between the trade of China and CEEC countries. Which kind of categories of the goods is seeing the most rapid growth? Thank you so much for your kind introductions. Minister Li has introduced us that starting from the year 2012, after setting up the China-CEEC collaboration mechanisms, we have made a long-term collaborations, and we are becoming one of the major imported destinations from the consumers' goods. The electronics and mechanical product is accounting for over 70% of the imported goods, demonstrating that there is a higher value attached to the goods between the China and CEEC countries. We have analyzing the data from last year, and we have noticed that the major exports China has exporting to CEEC countries, including the electronics and mechanical facilities, automobile product, while the imported goods from CEEC countries is automobiles and spare parts, the events and also the optical instruments, the copper material, as well as the timbers. From the first quarter this year, the number has been registered quite rapidly. The major product, including the readers, the essential oils, as well as the other different categories, the growth has been registered at 1,230%, 1,450%, 1,680%. These are the agricultural product and these are the industrial product. Where an industrial chain is needed, we could see the connectivities between the upside and the lower side of the collaboration streams. We believe that there is going to be a bright future for us to collaborate between China and CEEC countries. We are going to let the Chinese play our rules with our vast market, while the CEEC countries with their rich resources. The collaborations between the two sides is going to be promoted for the sustainable development of the China and CEEC countries. So the time is limited and we are only open up for 2 questions. Thank you so much. You have introduced us the demonstration areas between China and CEEC countries, and also the city of Ningbo becomes one of the major trading hubs between China and CEEC countries. What kind of measures are you going to take to promote the collaborations between China and CEEC countries? I'm going to take the questions. Thank you so much for your support of the demonstration areas In the city of Ningbo, I'd like to use 4 keywords to sum it up. We are going to be active, we are going to be collaborative, we are going to lead, and also we are going to create a positive environment. So first, we are going to be active. This year, it marks the 10 years anniversary for the Belt and Road Initiative, as well as the collaboration mechanisms between China and CEEC countries. This year also marks a new starting point for the second decade. We are going to work on the new development strategies and participate in the high-quality development. In the 3 destinations, the destinations for the bilateral trade and also the destinations for the people-to-people exchanges, we are going to build these demonstration areas as a center for the people-to-people exchanges, scientific and technological communications, as well as the economic and trade exchanges. Second, it is about the connectivities between the 2 sides. Only by connecting the 2 sides together, we could promote the economic trade between the 2 sides. The city of Ningbo and the province of Zhejiang needs to be connected together in order to be complementary to each other. The CEEC countries is going to open stores. At the same time, we are also going to work on the imports of the agri projects, facilitate the elements or facilitate the people-to-people exchanges. We are going to accelerate a bunch of the events where the standards could be made. The third one is that we are going to work on the economic leaderships. Through the leader rules in the economies, we are going to expand the openings of the ports in the city of Ningbo and facilitate the collaborations between the city of Ningbo and we are also going to breed a series of the industrial park, domestic and abroad. We are themed that by the year 2025, the Shan port in the city of Ningbo is going to be connected with the cargoes from the ports in the CEEC countries. Within 5 years, the total numbers of the cargoes is going to reach 1 million cargoes. By the year 2025, we are going to import for the value of the goods with $10 billion. From the numbers of the first quarter of this year, we are very confident that we are going to surpass the targets by the end of year 2025. Finally, it is about the connectivities between each sides. We are going to deepen the ties for the local Ningbo peoples, and these collaborations from the healthcare, the telecommunications, as well as the airlines is also going to open up from the consumers. And right now, we are also working on the cross-continent flights and airlines. For example, we are also working on a joint collaborations with Budapest from Hungarian in the airlines. We are also going to build a collaboration mechanisms between China and CEEC vocational schools. There is also going to be the entrepreneurial competitions between China and CEEC countries. Thank you. Thank you so much with Zhejiang Daily. European countries is the major destinations for our international diplomatic ties and also the economic and trade ties. What kind of practical measures could be working on promoting the joint efforts, a joint collaboration mechanism with the European countries? It is to our common knowledge that while President Xi Jinping was meeting up with Michel from the European Union, he noted that China and Europe are the 2 civilizations of the humankind. the two economic powers and also the two major markets across the world. So I believe that from these sentences, I could see there is a huge potential between the collaborations of China and Europe. At the beginning of this year, President Xi Jinping has received delegations of the Prime Minister Sanchez from Spain, as well as President Emmanuel Macron from France. These bilateral meetings gives the new impetus to the bilateral cooperations. Under the leaderships of the leaders from the two sides, the collaborations between China and European countries has overcome all the difficulties, facilitated the economic development between the two sides. The major fruitions has been demonstrated in the trade and mutual investment and multiple areas. First, the bilateral trade has created a new historic record. China and Europe are the two largest trading partners between the two sides. Last year, the mutual investment from the two sides has been reaching $840 billion, which is indicating that for every single minute, the trade between China and European countries has been surpassing $1.6 million. And right now, we are having a more optimized collaboration partnerships, including the lithium batteries, PV vehicles, and various collaborations. Second, for the mutual investment, there is an expanding of the mutual investment. At the end of last year, the inventories investment has been surpassing $13 billion. In the year 2022, European investment to China has grown by 70%. The automobile sector becomes the highlights. At the same time, China has invested $11 billion to the European market, 21% growth compared to last year. The major focus is NEVs, mechanical equipments, and the third areas, we could see that we are expanding the mutual collaborations. We have finished the second bunch of the list of the mutual investment categories. We have also working on the 35 different landmark goods and products. As mentioned by the Vice Governor, some of the CEEC countries has brought their landmarked goods to come to these exports. We have also renewed the sustainability finance categories. We have also issued a series of the green bonds from the CNBC, and we are also having a strong impetus to working together with each other. You have noticed that for the recent few months, a lot of the leaders from the European companies come to China and promotes the collaborations between the Chinese markets. The active participations of the European countries in a series of the Chinese exports, including the CIIEs, the CFAs, among other different affairs. And I have noticed that France is going to be the host countries for the China-CEEC events. This year marks the 10 years decades for the Belt and Road initiatives, and the CPC Central Committee is also working on the great rejuvenations of China and CEEC regulations. We are all willing to join hands with our European friends and implement the great consensus reached by the leaders from the two sides, and worked on the bright futures between the two sides, being complementary to each other, and enjoys the great development opportunities from the modernizations of these eras. As we are moving into the next steps, we are going to work on the digital economy, new energies, among other sectors. We are going to maintain a multilateral trade mechanisms led by WTO. By maintaining a stability to the mechanisms, we are going to inject new dynamisms for the global economies. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are looking forward to the third China-CEEC Expo held in Ningbo.